What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and we are talking about what the green and white did in the first round of the draft last night. And if you have been watching Jets Latest, you know that for a while I have been starting to talk about how the Jets are going to take the offensive lineman Arman Meu, number 7 overall. I told you they weren't going to go for tight end or Tyler Warren because it was a deep class, because they had available options via trade as well. I told you they weren't going to do anything splashy like a crazy quarterback idea, and they did, in fact, take Arman Meu at number 7 overall. So one thing, it feels good, right, to have gotten it correct. I actually got the first 7 picks right here. So if you're watching Jets Latest, you can be like, my guy, the spitting statistician, knows what's up. I told you it was going to be Cam Ward, then Hunter, then Carter, then Will Campbell, then Mason Graham, then Ashton Genty, and then that would leave Arman Meu for us. I told you to follow the money, what the Jets did in free agency, leaving that tackle spot, not getting guy like Jedrick Wills and others, because they were going to draft their bookend tackle. I told you to follow the odds, what we saw in the sports books, and that largely came to pass. So here on Jets Latest, I told you we give you the real on the Jets. Now Arman Meu is 6'3", 314 pounds. He tested out as by far the most athletic lineman in the combine, okay? His 40-yard dash was second among linemen. His vertical jump was third among linemen. His broad jump was best among linemen. But forget about that. He just gave up only 3 sacks in 3 years at Missouri. We talked about his PFF grade, which is over 90. Not easy to do. When I was watching the draft, the comps that he was having was to Jason Peters, the longtime stud offensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. So you gotta feel good, and this really does now complete an offensive line for the Jets that on paper looks to be above average, okay? I've said it on Jets Latest. The interior offensive line for this team, with Tippmann at center, with AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker, and John Simpson at guard, was already good. All 3 of those guys rated as per PFF top 10 at their position, okay? Both AVT and Simpson were top 10 guards in the league. Tippmann was, I believe, 9th in the league in PFF, right? Now you have last year's first-round pick, Olufashanu, at 1 tackle. You have Meu here at another tackle. And remember, we got depth in the free agency wave as well. Remember when we signed Josh Myers to be a backup center or a backup interior offensive lineman? He was Justin Fields' center at Ohio State. Remember when we also got Okorafor? He now becomes a swing tackle, a backup. Those are 7 offensive linemen that we have, and I think this is what Moji and Glenn said. He said we were going to be physical. He said we were going to be tough. He said we were going to be kind of combative, right? And that is what the Jets offensive line now looks like. So I am excited, and if you've been watching Jets Latest, you should be excited too, because you know we nailed this here. We were talking Meu, other people were saying that we were crazy focusing on Meu so much, but that's exactly what the Jets did at number 7 overall. I have been talking about number 42 overall as well. And I got to tell you, I was watching all the way to the end of the draft, and I really thought, because I've been saying defensive line is where they were going to go. And one guy that I had my eye on was Tyleik Williams, right? And what do you know? I thought he might still be there for us in round 2. But he goes at number 28 overall to who? The Detroit Lions, where Aaron Glenn just came from, right? Where Tanner Engstrom just came from. The same kind of culture and identity. Dan Campbell goes and takes him at number 28 overall. But I do still think there is a target for us at defensive line that could be interesting at number 42 overall. It's a guy that we did have in for a visit, and his name is Darius Alexander out of Toledo. 6'4", 305 pounds, okay? He was all conference in the MAC. I think that is very interesting. He had 7 tackles for loss. He had 3.5 sacks. He had 40 tackles. Those are good stats for an interior defensive lineman. He even had a pick 6 in the bowl game. Okay, so He's showing some athleticism as well. Second team, like I said, all MAC. What we really liked about him when we talked about him previously on Jets Latest is the idea that he has the length at the NFL level, really long arms, the ability to keep blockers off of him, and he is quick off the ball, good rushing ability from the interior as well. He's got a variety of pass rushing moves, which is good if you pair him with Quinnen Williams. Darius Alexander is a name to note if we still go ahead and go with a defensive lineman in the second round at number 42. Now, if he's not there, or later in round 3, I still think tight end is another position of need for us. And I have always been saying Membu at 7, D lineman at 42 in round 2, and tight end could be the second or third round pick at 42 and 73. And here's what I like. There is a surplus of tight ends that I believe are still out there that can contribute. One is Mason Taylor. We have been talking about Mason Taylor a lot on this show. 6'5", 251 pounds, the son of Hall of Fame edge rusher Jason Taylor, the nephew of Hall of Fame middle linebacker Zach Thomas. I've been mentioning him. Only one drop pass, right? Set a LSU tight end record with 55 catches. He's the only LSU tight end ever to have 100 catches and 1,000 yards in his career at LSU. I've been talking about Terrence Ferguson as well, out of Oregon. He's had 85 catches and over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns over the last couple of years. Remember, our tight end coach went to the Oregon Pro Day as well. He is somebody that we talked about. He is somebody that had a pretty good combine, some highlight grabs during senior week practices. I've mentioned Elijah Arroyo is another guy out of Miami, 6'5", 250 pounds. He's someone that Mel Kiper, Field Yates had mocked to us in the third round. I don't like him as much. He's had a lot of an injury history. He's a little bit raw. But there is one other name that I want to mention that we have not talked about here on Jets Latest. And this could be a tight end target for us in round 3. Harold Fannon Jr. He's out of Bowling Green. 6'3", 241 pounds. I haven't talked about him because he's at a smaller school. But get this. He was a finalist for the Mackey Award, which is the top tight end in the country. He was the first team AP All-American at tight end. So above Tyler Warren, who went 14 to the Colts, above Loveland, who went 10 to the Chicago Bears, above Taylor and these other guys I am talking about. Listen to the numbers Fannon put up at Bowling Green this year. He caught 117 passes last year. He caught them for 1,555 yards last year. 10 touchdowns last year, okay? Those led the 117 catches, the 1,555 yards. That was the most catches and yards by anybody in college football last year, and he did that from the tight end position. He set records for the tight end position all time with those catches and yards that he did last year. So clearly a pass catching threat. And get this, in his bowl game, albeit lower level of competition against Arkansas State, he had 17 catches, 213 yards, and a touchdown. In that one, was voted the game's MVP. So Harold Fannon Jr. is another name to watch at tight end. And I just reeled off 4 tight ends, right? So I do think that the kind of supply and demand is there for them to think about tight end in round 3. And remember, if Darius Alexander is there out of Toledo, he could be the guy in round 2. So those are some names to watch here on Draft Friday in rounds 2 and 3, where I believe the Jets are going to be able to get 2 more starters. But the big news here is we had it cold on Jets Latest at number 7. The Jets went ahead and took Arman Meu out of Missouri to complete the offensive line. I'm happy. I think you should be happy too. And this is fitting with the culture of Aaron Glenn and Darren Mosey. We will see what they have in store for rounds 2 and 3. Keep your eye on the defensive linemen that are there. And then one of these tight ends that could still be available at number 73 overall, adding to the competition with Ruckert and with Stone Smart, who we signed in free agency. That'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. Please remember, watch this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and now tell your Jet fans, friends to subscribe because, yo, the Spittin' Statistician had it right all along. That's why you get down with Jets Latest. We give you the latest on the Jets, Jets. And if you want to hear more from me, I tell you all the time, I am the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on SiriusXM channel 87, the fantasy channel. We'll be breaking down everything from the NFL draft talking about the NFL, fantasy football, Major League Baseball, the NBA playoffs. It does not stop. FTN is a great tool, great kind of content, tools, data sets to help you win in fantasy, help you win at sports betting, and I got you locked down. Make sure you go ahead, engage with me in the comments. Tell me you knew we were going to get Membu too because you were listening to me the whole time, or hit me up on Twitter as well, at Spittin' Speeds. But we will be back next week to break down all of the picks that the Jets have made, reset the depth chart, understand what they are still going to do with their new influx of talent as we get ready for the new season, the new regime here for the green and white in 2025. We will do that next week. I'm excited. I hope you are too. We'll see you then. We out of here.